Nancy Lorenzo, and I have been reading tarot for a long time 6 years ish. I grew up around it, and I started to learn and teach myself about 6 years ago. Um, I spent some time doing some live readings on Instagram, and now I'm making the transition over to YouTube. So, I am here to do a weekly reading. This reading will kind of talk about the energy that is coming up in the week ahead. Tomorrow is June 3rd, so it's June 3rd through the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So June 3rd through the 9th. And yeah, so we're just going to tap into the energies that are going to be present with us for this week, and any advice, anything that can kind of help us to navigate the energies that are present, as well as, just anything else that may come through that, you know, Spirit wants to share and wants me to let the collective know about. I'm just gonna take a minute. Okay. I just got oranges. And I was like, oranges, that's right. What is it about oranges? Well, orange is, well, one, the color. The color is the color of the sacral chakra. It's creative energy, but it's also kind of like this, it's fire energy. It's alchemizing, right? It's transforming lead to gold, is transforming heavy energy into lighter energy. I'm just gonna move my microphone a little bit closer to me. Let's see. That's better. It's transforming heavy energy into lighter energy, into more joyous energy. It's an activation. I'm seeing a lot of movement involved. So maybe exercising, dancing, just shaking it off in general. With this, if you are somebody who does rituals or who does baths or even tea, anything like that, you can work with oranges. Oranges help to elevate your frequency to, it's like an uplifting energy. Even in aromatherapy, you can get some orange essential oils, or I don't know if they have orange scented candles, but the smell of oranges, you get some dried orange, like peel. You can even like burn it and use it as like an incense almost. But you can make tea with it. You can, put it in like kind of like a spiritual bath, and um, you let it uplift your energy a little bit. Obviously we know that there is a lot of heaviness surrounding our current existence, the world, in our lives, and obviously we can feel that, and the things going on, because they feel so much bigger than us. They can make us feel a little bit hopeless, helpless, hopeless, insignificant, you know, small, um, all of those things. And I think Spirit just wants to remind us that that is not true. That is not true. Whatever you can do to help, if you are called to, it is making a difference, even a prayer, even a moment of gratitude, um, you know, for everyone else who is able to help, for the little positive things that may happen in your day-to-day life. It's just an invitation to um, continue to look at the beautiful and the positive things that are going on in your surroundings, to try not to get clouded and live in a bubble of darkness. Don't let this affect your vibration. And I'm also hearing that there are, you still have a life to live. You're still depending on you, and if you have children, your children are depending on you. Um, Family may be depending on you, so you still sort of have a life to live, and you still have to take care of yourself in the process. And knowing that you can't take care of other people, you can't show up in the world the way you want to and you need to if you're not, properly taking care of yourself. So let us not be martyrs, in this situation. Like, let us be, you know, that part. Listen to your favorite music. Dance a little bit. It's a lot of grief, obviously, around this time too, just like in general, because this does feel like a very defining point, I think, for a lot of us, in society and like the world. Like, I don't know what the world is gonna look like after this, and I'm talking about the war, and it's not even a war, the genocide that is happening in Gaza and in other places as well. Just, there's so much energy being shaken up. So, like, the world is going to be transformed because of this. Yeah, it's going to be, it's definitely going to be transformed. I think a lot of people are going to be brought to question authority. And what this is coming up to for me, is just this idea of, so as within, so without. So the things that are happening external to us on a macro level are also happening internally. So if we get to a point, and I think we're already there, where we're questioning authority, we're questioning whether, like, these people really should be running the world and making decisions for us, whether they actually care about ourselves. So just this idea of us inside, like, questioning ourselves and our inner authority, and how we navigate and direct our own lives. So that is a very heavy, I think, big energy. So that, I think that's not necessarily an energy. I think that's just an undercurrent energy that's kind of going to be following us for a while here. I don't think it's just a theme just for this week necessarily. Okay, Spirit, what should people be focusing on this week? It keeps coming up as like your joy. You should be focusing on your joy. I know, like, it is so hard to feel joyful when you know that so many other people are suffering. I need to get a better setup, because this is not, I'm just noticing that this is not going to be like enough space for me to throw out all my cards, but we're going to roll with it. So first, to start off, we got the Hangman card. And then we got the followed by the Chariot. So those are two major arcana. So this is very like destiny type of energy. And then we got the Page of Pentacles. I like to kind of have all the cards out and then kind of like go into the reading after. Okay. Feel free to breathe with me during this time. Spirit, please give me any messages that would be relevant for anybody watching this video, anything that they need to hear right now, anything that is resonating. I'm seeing writing, journaling, pen and paper. I'm also seeing speaking, like public speaking, like somebody on a stage. So maybe like writing or giving a speech. Or maybe speaking your truth, standing at your truth, not being afraid to kind of like, you know, I'm getting like the journaling is sort of like writing things down, writing down your feelings, writing down the things that you want. And obviously like almost like this energy of like a diary, like keeping secrets or keeping things to yourself. But I think Spirit is kind of inviting you to share your thoughts, sharing your feelings. We're just gonna keep these 3 cards that just came out here. Alright, we got the Lover's card as our background. Okay. So the Lover's card is kind of like this undercurrent energy. It is an energy of healing, and it is an energy also of balance. And this is what the Lover card looks like if you're not familiar. We got the Tower card right underneath. So yeah, we have a pretty decent amount of major arcana here, which to me says that this is like a very big energy. This is sort of like this destiny type of energy. Sort of like this destiny type of energy. It is also about healing, if you will, the masculine and the feminine, which to me also represents the head and the heart in this alignment. And when I was doing readings earlier at the beginning of the year, that was a very big theme that just kept coming up, is aligning the head and the heart, your feelings, your emotions, and your actions, what you think and what you feel and what you do, all of that type of energy. And really, what Spirit I think is coming through with that is how do I say this? It's kind of like this energy of standing up for what's right and speaking your truth, kind of like what I was saying about the public speaking, and not just keeping things kind of secretive to yourself, but really aligning like what you think and what you feel, even as it has to do with the world, and aligning aligning your thoughts and your feelings about the world and acting, really acting on those things. I think that's very important right now. It seems like we just have right now the opportunity to move in a different direction. And I think this is obviously a collective reading, so this is collective energy. um, we have the opportunity to kind of like really shift things and move things in the right direction, but this is going to require each of us individually to heal that alignment within ourselves, right? What we think and what we feel, and even like the lives that we want to live, the desires that we have, and make sure that our actions match that, that our being acts uh, that walking in truth almost becomes natural. It becomes habitual. You know, we don't have to think about it. It just kind of happens, and it is. Um, and what just came through is like bringing peace to that inner conflict within ourselves. Bringing peace to that inner conflict within ourselves, to that inner war of like just, I feel like a lot of us are often unhappy with the reality that we live in, with the lives that we are experiencing. And this is, like I said, on like a micro level, so this is personal. We're unhappy with the lives that we're living, but we don't take maybe the accountability to really shift our reality. We don't realize that we are responsible for creating our own experience, or that we can. We become victims of other people and of, you know, what they want and what they desire, and we basically let ourselves get bullied and pushed around. And whatever is told to us that we need to do, we sort of do it, even if it doesn't necessarily feel right to us. So this is a time for us to really like almost sit with ourselves and figure out what is true for me. Like, what is it that I want to experience from my life and from, you know, the greater world, you know? And also like creating boundaries and respecting other people, that other people have different wishes, other people have different ways that they want to live their life, that they want to experience their life, and that's okay. You have to take responsibility for yours and live authentically and express yourself from that place, and, you know, kind of like attract your own tribe and your own collective based on your true energy. Um, okay. Then we have here the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is a card that really represents a pause. It represents looking at things from a new perspective. I'm also like, the Hangman's head is sort of being like enlightened in this. So the head, the mind, the intellect, really representing the masculine energy. So the, you know, male, masculine energy. Um, yeah, I think this card is really asking us to really look at things from a different point of view. Yeah, it's an energy of just taking, almost like taking a step back, and even just like quieting the noise for a moment and really like listening to your own thoughts and to your own feelings, and letting that almost be like your light and your guide for how you should move forward. And like moving forward came up there, and the next card that we have is the Chariot card. The Chariot, however, came up in the contraction position. So the Chariot card is a card of moving forward, is a card of moving on. And what's coming up with this card is two things. So the first one is that it's almost like, because of all of the heaviness in the world, everything that's going on, I think it's very hard for us to move forward in our own lives. Um, or we're in this space where we're trying to figure out, how do I want to move forward, right? Because with the Hanged Man, it is a card of reflection. So I think this Chariot card is, in being in the contraction position, it's not necessarily that we are, how do I say my words? It's not necessarily that it's like challenging necessarily for us to move forward. It's that it's almost like spirit, like saying like it's okay to stop for a moment, and to like, it's almost like, what I'm seeing is like, if you are this person like on this chariot, like obviously this vehicle, there are like so many different paths in front of you, so many. And you see some people going this way, you see some people going that way, you see some people, you're watching, you're just looking at all of these options. And I think spirit is just asking us to take a step back and to ask, like, okay, but which one is for you? Which one is right for you? Which one do you genuinely want to take? It's almost like, and I'm feeling like this, just like, kind of like this big feeling of almost like taking that leap of faith, like do that thing that you really, really want to do. And with that, like, spirit is also reminding us, like, life is so short, and there are so many people losing their lives at this time. And something that I've learned through my experience with grief and with grieving is, the best way that I know how to honor my past loved ones is to live my life to the fullest. And that's easier said than done, because fear is a thing. We are scared to take leaps of faith. But I have learned to, that is the best way that I can honor them, because they lost their lives. They no longer have that choice, that option, that opportunity to take leaps of faith and to, like, do whatever they want to do. They don't have that. So it is almost my responsibility to do that, to live freely and to take chances and to do the thing, whatever the thing is. And then our invitation to this challenge is the Page of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles is this kind of student type of card. If you look at what this page is doing, he's like, has this pentacle and he's looking at it, right? He's observing it, he's studying it. And I see this pentacle, every time I look at this card, I see the pentacle as like a seed, right? So something that you're like, and maybe you have multiple seeds, like these multiple rows, and you're kind of picking each one up, and you're like, do I like this one? Is this the one that I plant? Is this going to give me the fruit that I want? Or maybe it's another one. Like, you're really taking that time to kind of like, weigh out your options, and to see like what kind of life do I want to create. And like, the image that spirit just gave me is planting this seed, and this seed almost being like it's like, well, the image that I got was the seed being planted in the ground, and then like this like reality popping up in front of you. It's almost like a VHS, like a VHS cassette tape that you put into the player. You're popping that in, and then all of a sudden, like, you're seeing things, you're seeing image. So it's almost like the seed, like, creating your reality around you. So it's about deciding, like, is this the seed that's going to give me the world the reality that I actually want to experience. Okay. And with that, we have next, again, in this current energy position, we have the Two of Pentacles. And the Two of Pentacles is just that, like, you kind of like juggling between one thing and the other, and kind of like this energy of like going back and forth. But it did come out in the reverse. And what Spirit just told me is, you know exactly what you want. You know which one you want. What Spirit is telling me is, one of these pentacles is exactly what you want, and the other one is a compromise. It's a compromise. It's you settling. It's you being afraid. It's you maybe feeling like you're not ready. It's you doubting yourself. It's you holding yourself back. So maybe if we are in this place where we're kind of, weighing out our options, like think about it from that point of view. Like what Spirit just said is, which one feels freeing and which one feels like a prison? Which one does not? We got the Eight of Swords in our contraction, and the Eight of Swords has been the card that has been following me. It's a card that has been it's just the card that is the example of my energy at this point in time, and the thing that I'm navigating through. And the Eight of Swords really speaks of ego, when your identity becomes a prison, when your identity becomes too limited, too small for what you want. And it's basically a time to take off the blindfolds, to unband yourself, and to let yourself be free. To let yourself stand like in your truth, right? Because the swords represent the mind, the intellect, the masculine, once again. And it represents also like, your ego. Your mind creates, kind of creates your identity. It creates your sense of self. So after some time, we get it's almost like Joe Dispenza has this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And he talks about how your personality is almost like a habitual practice, right? It's a habit. Being yourself is a habit. And there comes a point in time where maybe you want something different for yourself. You want this different reality. You want this different pentacle, right? But I like to play loud music. I don't even know if you can hear it, but but yeah, like I think a lot of us are just kind of like bound up in this prison of who we think we are and what we think we can have, and what we can occur. And to a certain point, who we are is like who we think we are, like right now. How do I say this? As we are right now, we cannot have what we want, because who we are right now is not going to do the things necessary to create the reality that we want. So, if we truly desire and want this new reality, we have to redefine ourselves. We have to shed this identity. In a sense, we have to basically have an ego death. We have to let that part of ourselves go. And this kind of is bringing me back to like this whole idea of grief that we're feeling, and the fact that the Tower popped up under the Lover's card over here. The Tower represents like this shaking things up, and these things like ending and crashing, and you not like almost not. It's almost like when you thought something was some way, and then you find out that it's not. And so like you don't even know like what to think anymore. And I think we're experiencing that in our own society and within like the world. And I think we are also obviously we then experience that within ourselves, because then you're like, okay, so what is it that I really want, and then who am I, and like what do I believe, and what is the future that I want to create. So I think we feel pretty small. We feel pretty restricted in the identity that we currently hold. So it's time to kind of like break free of that. And our invitation was the King of Cups, but the King of Cups is in reverse here. So typically, I would say the King of Cups to me represents this energy of like staying focused and not letting your emotions like rock you. But with it being in reverse and what Spirit just said, like, let your emotions rock you. Because our emotions are a guide. Our emotions is what direct us and tell us like what what is right for us and what's not. Our emotions is what like, you know, drive us to go out and protest and yell and scream. Our emotions is what drives us to create music, to create art, to create our new world, our new reality, to be like, I can't do this anymore. So Spirit is asking us, I think, to stop holding, to stop, to let those feelings run. It's almost like I got this image of like a dam. You know, water represents our emotions of like a dam, and we just keep like holding back this water, and it's like Spirit is asking you to just let it loose. To just, and this is not like a recommendation. I feel like the Spirit typically gives me, at least. I'm a very emotional person. I think a lot of us are, but yeah, I think Spirit wants us to feel. Spirit wants us to feel fully, because that emotion is what drives. It's the thing that like it moves us. Music again, but yeah, our emotions is really what moves us. It's what's going to make us feel like we need to change. Like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I need to do something different. And like I said, your emotions are almost like they're your compass. You know, they're kind of like they're really your first tool of divination. When you walk into a room and you feel good or you don't, like, that is usually an indication of whether or not you should be there. You know, so, or I mean, if you should be there and you feel like you shouldn't be there because you're insecure or whatever, that's also a thing. So your emotions is really what's telling you like what your current energetic state is, right? So yeah, Spirit is, I think, inviting us to feel, to feel. We also got the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, okay? And the Queen of Pentacles, for me, typically represents this, what came through is the nurturing of our reality, the nurturing of our physical selves, of our resources, of our things. Um, it came up in the reverse. I think this is once again Spirit telling us that it's time to let go. I'm just seeing like this image of like this reality, or like just our expectations for the seed that we planted and what we thought was going to grow, that it's kind of going to be uprooted somehow, some way. And in the contraction, we got the Moon card, the Moon in reverse. The Moon does represent our, again, once again, with our emotions. It represents something being illuminated and brought to the forefront. what I just heard is like sometimes you gotta go into the shadows. And there's this, it's a lobster right here, but for me, this lobster represents, every time I look at it, I think of Scorpio. And the sign of Scorpio is really about like going to the depths, going into the shadows, and it's kind of like sorting through things in order for you to come back up lighter, you know? It's all about healing. I feel like this reverse card is sort of giving me this hangman energy again, of almost like going into the depths and or going into our own shadows and learning to see those things with a new perspective, like gaining a new perspective. The next card that we have as the invitation is the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is obviously about the mind, and it is this new, fresh outlook on life. This almost this new, this knowing of your own truth and what you want, and being able to firmly stand in that and accept that and hold on to that, and almost like navigating this world from this new point of view and this new perspective. But this moon card too is also just telling me, spirit is telling me that, again, going back to like this energy of like, you already know. You already know how you feel about things. You already know what you want out of your life. You already know. So it's almost like this energy of like you, or yeah, I know I just said about going into the shadows and blah, blah, blah. Maybe some people need to do that, but I'm getting that some people actually do not need to do that. You need to stop doing that. You need to stop going into this cycle of like healing and like sorting through your emotions, and like, no, you just have to act. You just have to move. Like, you already know. You just have to own your truth. You have to own what you want and what you know and what you believe and what you know, you have to own it and you have to live it out. Like, it's almost like this has already been illuminated. Like, this has already happened. We don't need to continue to do this anymore. We don't need to continue to heal and to, you know, go into the depths, like I just said, of your shadow, and like confront all these things and like deal with all the, you've already done all that. You're just afraid to like walk into this world as like your healed, your fully healed self, for whatever reason, or for many reasons. You know, this world can be a scary place. Taking leaps of faith can be scary, but I think it's worth it. I feel like I'm being called to pull like one more card. Spirit, do one more card. Oh my goodness, I just messed up my deck. There we go. Ooh, okay. We got the death card. So yes, those energy, yes, of letting go, of allowing things to transform, of allowing things to transmute, right? Because death is comes right before rebirth. Life, death, and rebirth. It's a beginning and it's an ending and a beginning. So it's about choosing how you want to manage this death cycle that's coming through. Um, I have this other deck that I was guided to grab. It's called Divine Intuition Oracle. It's a deck that it says develop your trust in natural wisdom. So I don't use it that often, but it's good for when we need to kind of when spirit wants to tell us what we should be focusing on in terms of like how we may be receiving messages this week, how our intuition is most activated this week. But I'm really feeling like gut feelings, like the sacral chakra. With that also comes just the idea of like gut health, like maybe lightening up the diet a little bit so that you can actually feel clear in your in your gut. Okay. All right, spirit. I don't know why this is coming through for me to say, but I think whatever's gonna come through first is almost being directed towards one person, like specifically. And I'm seeing the color green. Maybe connected to the heart chakra or something else, but I'm seeing green. And birds going outside, grounding. Getting unplugged. Okay, we got multiple numbers, so synchronicities in terms of numbers, angel numbers, also numbers that just like feel good to you. These have like dice in it. One is a 5 and one is a 3, which is the number 8, which is actually my favorite number. Lucky number 8. Justification. And wasn't I just saying the 8 and then the 8th card pops up? 8. So I'll take that as confirmation. Maybe that's the number that will be popping up to me, or maybe to you. 888, 88, 8 in general. For June 8th. Paying attention to that date and specifically. Justification. I need to read this one out of the book. I'm not sure what that is. But the illustration is showing like this eye above them and then this eye like down here, almost like in the sacral area. And maybe by justification, what I'm getting is like confirmation, which is what I just said with the 8 from the other card, and 8 like confirmation, receiving confirmation from your feelings, and then like these divine downloads, or getting confirmation somehow for what you feel or what you see, and trusting. Two more cards. I'm just hearing like pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Getting the number 13 and 6, 75, 8, 13, 6, 75. like a light bulb as well. A repetition, 34. We're just talking about angel numbers, repetition, patterns, things just repeating themselves. Maybe you think something, and you see, and then afterwards you see it, and you see it again. Again, that also is almost like confirmation. One more card, and then I do want to read that justification card from the book. And then we got 26 from beyond, and 2 plus 6 is 8. Just saying. From beyond. I'm going to read both of these cards, and this card is actually green. Look at the card in the back. It says leap of faith. Exactly what we've been talking about. Okay, let me read this justification. Let's see if it's what I thought it was about confirmation. Justification. You have drawn this card today to remind you that you don't have to justify your choices or actions when following your intuition. In the black and white world, you continually succumb to the delusion that you are in control and that certain outcomes are guaranteed, while secretly living with the combined fears that you are not in control and the outcomes are not guaranteed. See, it's this battle, right? It's this battle of how you feel and how you behave, right? What you believe and how you act. We have to find a way to embody that energy for real and be it. You look around and see marriages ending in divorce, businesses going broke, insurance companies refusing to pay out, and governments reneging on their promises. You will frequently justify your choices and actions based on the notion that life comes with a guarantee. Yet, it's so obvious that it does not. Why then should you find it so difficult to justify your actions or choices in response to a hunch, strong feeling, or clear sense of knowing? Should you dismiss those in favor of contracts and spend the rest of your life worrying? The truth is that you don't have to justify your actions or decisions based on your intuition if you don't want to. And sometimes you simply can't. We all love to hear success stories about following our guidance after the positive outcome has already occurred. But the real reward of intuition comes from listening to and acting on it without prior explanation or guarantee. In order to be fully alive, and I talked about that, honoring, it's almost like you honor death through living. In order to be fully alive, it's important to acknowledge uncertainty as a reality and learn to become comfortable with it. Take yourself back to the last success story you heard about. At some point in the telling, you would have heard, "I don't know what made me do it." The person sharing their story will acknowledge they weren't sure why they were doing whatever they were doing. They just knew they had to do it. If you are surrounded by skeptics and doubters, it's worth rehearsing statements such as, "Don't worry, I'm following my intuition on this. I'm getting comfortable with uncertainty and choosing to follow my guidance. I'll let you know what the outcome is when it shows up." And all is said with a lovely big smile on your face. Basically, it's kind of talking about that inner authority that I started with talking about before I pulled cards, right? That inner authority, that inner guidance, and really owning that inner authority, listening to that inner authority, supporting that inner authority by listening to it. And then I want to read the From Beyond card because I just I just want to. I don't have to justify what my intuition is telling me. My intuition is telling me to read this, so I'm going to read it. From Beyond. You have drawn this card today to reassure you that your loved ones will always remember you and will reach out to you whenever your journey permits. Working with an experienced medium to communicate with your loved ones in spirit can be deeply moving. The people and pets you loved while they were alive are still connected to you in some way, and some of them may still be able to guide you on occasion. From their perspective, in their non-physical dimension, they can see things you can't. They can see things you can't. Know things you don't, and look at life with the benefit of hindsight. While long-held secrets can be revealed and long-lost treasures can be unearthed, most exchanges are about reassurance, reconnection, and sending love. Sometimes your loved ones will simply want to express feelings they found difficult to verbalize while they were alive. It's important not to feel slighted when a departed loved one doesn't come through to you on demand. When you book an appointment with a medium and nothing much comes through, it can be very disappointing. But no one can exist on communications from the other side. Your loved ones may be receiving healing from their own angels and spirit guides, or be passing through a dimension that makes it difficult to communicate at the time. Messages from beyond often serve as reminders to smile, appreciate what you have, enjoy your life, and remember how much you are loved. Your departed loved ones will reach out to you through things you'll recognize, and they know you enjoy, or anything that was mutually significant. You might hear them speak to you like a thought in your head, discover an object that belonged to them, or hear one of their favorite songs. As with angels, your family and friends on the other side will use things such as white feathers or rainbows to get your attention. If you aren't looking after yourself, they can ensure you notice a magazine about well-being. And if you need support in your grieving process, they will make sure you find a counseling service. They might even show up in your dreams. So listen to your intuition and your heart, and rest assured that they have not and will not ever forget you. That's beautiful. Very, very beautiful. I was watching Frozen 2 the other day while I was getting my hair done. And if you've seen Frozen 2 or haven't seen Frozen 2, I'm going to tell you um, that there's this kind of like theme with Olaf, kind of like talking about change from the very beginning. There's this whole song, Some Things Never Change. Um, and there's a part where he is kind of like dying in a sense, and Anna is holding him, and he tells her, he says, I just thought of something. Music. Show me what you got, 'cause I don't want it. It's a great song. Anyway, Anna's holding Olaf. Olaf is passing on, and he says, I just thought or remembered or something of the one thing that doesn't change. And he says that is love. That love is always constant. In life and in death. Love. Love. yourself enough to live the life you deserve, to live the life you want to live. In that moment, I feel like I just felt my grandmother. And something that Spirit just said is allow yourself to feel your loved ones. I think a lot of us are kind of like almost have like a blind spot to those things because we're just like, kind of like living life, but we're not paying attention, and we don't realize how supported we are. And I don't know why I'm getting this message right now. I was saying the veil is thin. And usually that happens, around Halloween or whatever, but Earth is alive. Spirit is here. I also heard them say, we are the aliens. Maybe they are, I don't know. But I just felt my grandmother. And I also heard, you are provided for. You will be okay. You will be okay if you decide to take this journey. You are provided for. And I'm also hearing your dream is our dream. We want to see you succeed. We experience and we live life through you. We are proud of you. We support you. We're here for you. I'm seeing them like almost removing obstacles. Almost opening up the path. Give yourself permission to live. Say yes. Be kind to yourself. Breathe. I feel like Spirit always tells me like, oh, you're exactly where you should be. And right now Spirit is saying, you are not where you should be. You are not where you should be. That is why you feel so uncomfortable. That is why you feel out of place, anxious, depressed, trying to figure out how to put them into place. But first decide what it is. And go from there. I'm seeing a mountain and like, you know, somebody reaching essentially that top of the mountain. And then knowing that there's always another one. So it doesn't stop. And I'm just overall getting this feeling of just like pride and love and support and just like do it. Do it. We do the thing. Thank you, Spirit. That is the reading. I hope you enjoyed. The plan is to have these up once a week. I also have some other ideas for some videos that I would like to do, so that just requires a bit more time and planning and discipline and organization on my part. So we're gonna get to that. But I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope that it resonated. I hope that it's helpful and supportive to you. And have an amazing week, you know, and this is a heavy time, heavy energy, a lot of introspection happening. Ego death is not easy, but I think this is why our loved ones in spirit wanted to come through and remind us that they are here guiding us, that even when we look around and we feel like we don't have love and support from anyone, you know, physically here with us, like they are here and supportive of us because they understand. They can see things we can't, they know things we can't. They are living life through our eyes and through our bodies, and they just want us to be happy. So they are supportive. They love you. So be brave. And that's it. I'll see you next week if I don't post anything else this week, but for sure next week. Have an amazing night, day, whatever, whenever you're watching this, and enjoy your week.